TV 9.
Knocking off the number 2 team in the country is a tall task for any team, especially with 7'3" Hashim Thabit blocking your path. UConn meets Bryant next. After 6 days of sun and fun and 3 wins in the Virgin Islands, it's back to familiar territory for the Huskies. We're at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut, where the Bryant Bulldogs visit second-ranked UConn. And a very pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with former Providence coach Tim Welsh. We hope you had a terrific Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us on this Saturday. Tim, UConn has a very deep and talented team, a veteran team, but it's a newcomer who has really added an extra dimension.
Well, everyone knows about UConn's long line of great point guards. Jimmy Calhoun recruits him to run his fast break. This year he's got another one in Kemba Walker. Early in the season, Kemba Walker has come off the bench, second on the team in scoring, leads them in steals, push point guard, but one thing he does, he gets into the gap, gets to the rim. All-American, high school All-American at Rice High School in New York City, out of the Bronx. He's a guy that's going to electrify fans here in Hartford and on the campus.
Now, the opponent today, Bryant, is in its first year in Division I, and frankly, is no match for UConn, but the Bulldogs have a go-to guy. He's making it look easy.
Well, Timmy O'Shea, when he got to Bryant, he knew he's got to do a big job in recruiting. He doesn't have a lot of Division I players on his roster, but one he found on campus was Cecil Gresham, a guy that can get to the rack, shoot three-pointers. To this date in the season, he's accounted for almost 30% of the team's scoring. Jim Calhoun better be aware of him today.
Gresham is in our Star Watch, and so is UConn's vastly improved center, Hashim Thabit.
Everybody knows about Thabit's ability to rebound and shot block. The thing that I think, Bob, this year he's doing better, gets the ball in the box, he's finishing, his footwork's improved.
UConn's Jim Calhoun is the 10th winningest coach in college basketball history. A win today will move him into a 3 lineups. First for the visitors from Smithfield, Rhode Island. Chris Burrell, no relation to former UConn great Scott Burrell, leads the Bulldogs in assists and steals and even in block shots. He'll play the point. And for UConn, Jerome Dyson, coming off a 21-point performance in the Paradise Jam championship game against Wisconsin last Monday. He leads UConn in scoring, averaging 18 points per game. The coach at Bryant in his first year is Tim O'Shea. He spent the 7 previous seasons as the head coach at Ohio University in the Mid-American Conference. Jim Calhoun has coached UConn to 6 Big East tournament championships and 2 national championships. He is the second winningest active coach in the country, trailing only Duke's Mike Krzyzewski. And Tim, certainly doesn't figure to be a very competitive game. Bryant, first year of Division I, really is going to have its hands full with the much taller and much more athletic number 2 team in the country.
Well, when Timmy O'Shea got to Bryant, he knew he had a tall task, and one thing he looked at when he first got there was the schedule. He's at UConn, he's at Boston College, he's at Iowa, he's at Maryland, he's at Providence, he's at Rutgers, and I think once he saw that, it was enough maybe to get him to go back to Ohio and turn the job down. But he knows it's a long job for him. Right now, his kids have been very competitive early. They lost a tough game at home to Albany. The other night, a surprising win against Quinnipiac in the Columbia tournament. They're going to play hard today. They're going to play a lot of zone, but everyone knows UConn has too many horses.
And that's the Quinnipiac team that beat Hartford. And, of course, UConn already played and beat Hartford soundly. Bryant, located in Smithfield, not far from Providence. An enrollment of just 3,200. There's a list of some of the notable alumni. And Tim, they are a school that has had a great deal of success at the Division II level.
Well, they were great under Max Good. In the last 5 years, they've been to the NCAA tournament. Max Good left the program to go back and be an assistant at the Division I level, but they competed in the Northeast 10, a conference that traditionally sent 3 or 4 teams to the NCAA tournament, but now they're on a different playing field. They're going to work their way to be a member of the Northeast Conference. Eventually, they'll be eligible to play in the conference tournament. But until they get there, it's a work in progress. I think this year's club, he's just trying to build the program, build a foundation. He's got some good recruits coming in, but the future, it's down the road for him. Today, he's just trying to be competitive.
And Tim O'Shea told me the NEC, the Northeast Conference, that's the league that they are joining, is a good fit for us. In 4 or 5 years, we should be a significant factor in the conference race. Now, as for UConn, the Huskies coming off the championship at the Paradise Jam, where they beat nationally ranked Miami, nationally ranked Wisconsin. Then they actually got to spend another day or 2 down there and have some sun and fun. Then back to reality. Now they're playing, the kids aren't dumb. They know they're playing a Division I team. it wouldn't be certainly the first time ever that a team played below its level of performance against an inferior opponent.
Well, today's where Jim Calhoun will earn his money in the fact that he wants his team to still keep that fire in him. You don't want to take a step back. They played so well against Miami and then continued it on against Wisconsin, where they really willed their way to win offensively in one game, defensively in another. He wants to keep that up at a pace where they keep getting better, where they're ready to play at the end of December and get ready for Big East play.
And Bryant has played UConn before, but in exhibition play. In fact, they've played them 4 times, including in this building, and lost all 4. There are our officials. Michael Stevens will toss the ball up between 7'3" Hashim Thabit, and it looks like jumping center for the Bryant club will be 6'7" Jaron Wright. UConn 5-0, ranked number 2 in the country. Bryant 1-2, and oddly enough, UConn controls the tip. Dyson gives to Price. He's coming off-season torn ACL surgery. Tore up his knee in the first half of UConn's NCAA tournament first-round loss to San Diego. Austri for 3, air ball, last touch by Thabit.
Bryant's going to play a packed-in 2-3 zone, Bob. What they're going to do is try to take away the inside, take away the foul line area. UConn likes to do a lot of ball screening against the zone, and they like to do a lot of inside screening. Bryant's going to say, take the 3 and beat us from the outside. This
is number 11, Chris Burrell, and he gets it to Gresham. He fires, and the folks from Bryant can say, we led the number 2 ranked team in the country 3-0 on their own floor. Here's Price to Adrian. Left side, Austri. Back to Price, preseason Wooden Award nominee. And Price will launch the 3 and knock it down. A.J. Price's 7th three-pointer of the year. He now leads the team in that category. And that's one area, Tim, where UConn, if there's such a thing as a weakness, they are not a great three-point shooting team.
Over the last couple years, that has been their Achilles heel. But I think when you look at Price, you look at Dyson, you look at Austri, I think they're all very capable three-point shooters, especially now with the inside-out game, where they're looking inside to beat more, they'll open up the outside on the perimeter.
After Wright hit the jumper to give Bryant the 5-3 lead, Bryant gets it back and will turn the ball over for the first time today.
I think, Bob, traditionally you would think Bryant would come in here and play a little bit a little timid at the beginning, but this basketball team has played in this arena. When Max Good was the coach at Bryant, he traditionally played UConn in an exhibition game here.
Inside to Adrian, shot was blocked, but a foul will be called on Wright, sort of a late whistle. And that's the first foul of the afternoon. And to the free throw line will go Jeff Adrian. And from your days at Providence, you got a chance to coach against this young man. And no one works harder on the floor at both ends than Adrian.
Well, now watching Jeff Adrian in his 4th season and seeing him up close over the years, he plays at one level, and that's terrifically hard. Going through a wall, he'll play it. He can step out to the foul line. He's a very good interior passer, kind of an underrated interior passer. And against Bryant zone early, you look for him to flash into just below the foul line area, right around the Big East dotted area on the dotted line, and look to make that middle range jumper. And if Bryant collapses, that's when the three-pointers will open on the perimeter.
Adrian's 61% free throw shooter, goes 1 for 2. And some full court zone pressure for UConn. They really hurt Wisconsin with their 2-on-2 full court trap. Jumper up, no good. Tapped around. Adrian directs it to Dyson. And here comes UConn, always looking to get something in transition. Down low Thabit, and Thabit was being held from behind by Wright. And that's going to be 2 fouls on him already. And Tim O'Shea will have to get him out of the game.
Well, that's a big problem for Bryant, because they really don't have a backup big man. Their depth in their first-year Division I is very, very limited, and Wright gives them at least a guy inside that can put a body on people on the interior. Now they're going to be extremely small.
Nick Ponce, 6'6" junior from New Bedford, Mass, comes in. Adrian down low, no good. Here comes Burrell. 3-on-3 if they hurry. Burrell looks inside, finds Ponce with the one-hander. Rebound Adrian. Here's Price. We've played 2 minutes. It's 5-4 Bryant. Price looking for another 3. Rebound down low to Lyle for Bryant. Here's Burrell, a former walk-on. Now he's the starting point guard against the second-ranked team in the country.
He's solid but not flashy. Basically what Tim O'Shea wants them to do is not turn the ball over and just run their basketball team.
Lyle got that shot off. Might have been altered somewhat. Austri lost the handle. And here comes Burrell. He has Gresham to his left. He launches it himself with no one in position to rebound offensively.
That's a shot Timmy O'Shea doesn't want. They came down, they made a nice steal. If they have transition, they have numbers, that's one thing, but you can't take a 3 out of transition without numbers.
UConn 1 for 5 from the floor. Adrian directs the rebound back out to Austrie. And this is Price with another 3. He's 2 for 3 from three-point range.
Well, one thing Bryant can't do is allow the second opportunities. They got UConn to miss from the three-point line. Their guards have to pinch in. If they're going to be inside and make the UConn beat them from the perimeter, the guards have to rebound.
Gresham for 3, and he knocks it down. So there's an example of Bryant beating the pressure and getting an open look as a result.
Well, UConn's trying to be pretty aggressive on the top line of their press, which means you can throw over the top, but then you've got a guy to finish in Gresham on the other end.
Adrian down low. Over the head of Price, and he'll try to save and does. Still 20 on the shot clock. Austrie, nice ball fake, gets past Burrell and then gets fouled. It will be the first on Burrell and number 3 on Bryant. And after the first free throw attempt by Austrie, we will get our first look of the afternoon at the young man we talked about in our open, Tim, and that is Kemba Walker. And what great flexibility he gives Jim Calhoun.
Well, not only on the offensive end, and you know, the hardened fan wants to look at the offense and say, what's he going to bring? Can he shoot the ball? What position is he going to play out there on the floor for us? What I liked is in the Wisconsin game, they really upped the pressure on Wisconsin. They forced turnovers. They got Wisconsin 22 turnovers. 3 10-second violations in that basketball game. For years, Jim Calhoun has picked up man-to-man, going back into the 90s, 2-2-1, back to pressure man-to-man, and that's what you'll see with all the guards in the game right now.
So Walker replaces Austrie, and UConn outscored Wisconsin off the points off turnovers 31-14 in the championship game of the Paradise Jam, and it was that full court zone trap that really turned the game around in the Huskies' favor. Lyle up top. Away from the play, we're going to get a foul on setting the screen. It's going to be on number 23, Ponce. That's his first. 4 on Bryant. And Tim O'Shea will go to his bench and bring in Ryan McLean, a 6'7" senior from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
First personal foul, 14th foul.
Going to Bryant's practice last week, they really looked at packing it in and not only having 3-4 guys in the paint, but going underneath all UConn's ball screens. You'll see them come up to the top and set a lot of screens on the perimeter.
Dyson in the lane. Adrian could not control the rebound with one hand, and here comes Bryant, down by only 1. We've played 4 minutes. Right side, Lyle puts it on the floor. Nice rotation, gets an open look for Gresham, and he's 2 for 2 from there.
That was NBA range.
Gresham has already scored 9 points. It's UConn 9 and Gresham 9. Bryant has 2 other points as well. Adrian with the offensive rebound goes right back to the glass and misses the chipping. Here's Burrell. And a turnover for the Bulldogs, their 3rd of the game. Well, UConn has knocked down a couple of threes, but they're 0 for 5 inside the arc. So far, as advertised, Gresham 9 points, he's 3 for 3. Points, and Bulldogs, one Bulldog has managed to actually score 2 of them. The other one belongs to Gresham.
Well, he's got 3 three-pointers, and UConn better find out where he is, because he's really the only guy that could take them down with a big night. Gresham on the left wing, that seems to be his spot out there tonight, but what UConn's doing is they're forgetting they're putting so much ball pressure on the top of their zone that they're leaking over the top, and Gresham is open on the wing.
Gavin Edwards in the lineup replacing Adrian. The pass for Thabit went over his head, did a nice job of saving it, and Dyson does a good job of drawing the foul and getting to the free throw line. He's a real slasher, isn't he?
Well, Dyson is a player this part of the season, Bob, that I think really Jim Calhoun says, you're my weapon. Over the years, you've had a Rip Hamilton, you've had a Caron Butler, a traditional 3-man in that role for Jim Calhoun. His offense really centers around the wing player out there on the floor. And this year, they don't really have that wing player. Stanley Robinson will be back after Christmas. But Jerome Dyson is a scorer. He's a guard that can kind of play a wing position, steps out and shoot threes. so far this year he's been terrific.
And there's no question that when he sat out a 9-game suspension last year, it completely disrupted the rhythm of his season, and he wasn't the same player when he came back.
Well, Jim Calhoun said he wasn't the same till the second half of the NCAA tournament game against San Diego, so that's a long time off, and it's good to see Dyson back because he is a terrific talent.
Gavin Edwards in the lineup for the Huskies, number 33, the 6'9" junior forward from Mesquite, Arizona. Lyle puts it on the floor, shot clock at 10. Left side three is no good by number 22 Latham, but it was last touched by the Huskies, and a fresh 35 for Bryant.
Well, Bryant's going to have to spread the floor, drive and pick and pop, drive and kick, because they really have no chance of scoring on the interior unless it's in transition.
5 of Bryant's 9 shots have come from behind the three-point line. Gresham with a hand in his face. Barely grazed iron, and Price wrestles the rebound away from McLean. Here's Dyson on the wing, and he'll draw the foul before the shot.
The one thing Bryant has to do, Bob, in the half court, that time they got a new fresh clock and they shot on one pass. They have to be more patient. If they're open, that's fine. Gresham obviously is feeling it, but that time he shot under pressure, and that's when UConn's going to turn it into fast break and transition basketball.
Dyson departs, back in Austrie. Jim Calhoun will continue to rotate 4 guards at the 1, 2, and 3 spots. When Walker and Price are on the floor, Walker plays the point, and Price slides over to the 2. Edwards, nice down low to Thabit.
Great high-low look there. That's where Bryant has to keep the ball out of the middle. UConn does a terrific job of getting the ball into the foul line area, trying to shrink the zone, and then looking inside.
First 2-point basket of the game for the Huskies, who outscored Wisconsin in the paint 36-16 last Monday. On the perimeter, we're going to get a foul called on Thabit.
Good high-low here. This is where Bryant has to protect the foul line. That's the dangerous area, the foul line, the short baseline area. UConn will try to exploit that area. Very good pass for a big guy, Edwards. Good high-low look there.
Thabit will sit down after picking up UConn's first personal foul of the game. Adrian back in, so Huskies a little smaller now, with Adrian and Edwards occupying the 4 and 5 spots. Guess anyone would be smaller after you take Thabit out, huh? Rebound Edwards, and here comes Walker. Has Austrie right, and finds him. Down low Edwards, and he passed it over the head of Adrian. So Edwards' first pass was a good one, second one not so good. The kick on Walker, shot clock will stay at 30. And here comes 7'1" UConn sophomore Charles Akwandu. Burrell leaves for Bryant, replaced by 6'1" Sam LeClaire, number 55. Jim Calhoun not real pleased with the play of his big men.
Well, it's tough because they're guarding guys that they're not used to guarding. They're guarding really bigger guards in the Big East. So there you see Adrian getting beat off the dribble.
That's going to earn him a spot on the bench. So Edwards just came out, and he's going to go right back in. I think he's going to replace number 4. Here's Walker. We've played 7 minutes, and Bryant is leading UConn by 1.
Well, UConn really has to look to get the ball inside and then opposite. Look skip opposite. The threes will be open. Not only the threes, but the drives into the wings, into the interior.
Walker did a good job of getting into the teeth of that zone and drawing the foul. It will be on LeClaire, his first, already 17 fouls on the Bulldogs.
I really like Kemba Walker's pace to his game. What he did in the Virgin Islands, I thought, was special as a freshman, especially coming into a veteran basketball team with a lot of experienced guards, experienced players. Coming from Rice High School, Mo Hicks, there's really no fear in this game. Playing at McDonald's All-American coming from the Bronx. He's ready to have a great year in the Big East. There's no question about it. He's one of the best freshmen in our league.
And Jim Calhoun said, as far as stopping on a dime and going, I don't remember anyone we've had with Walker's kind of quickness. And that's saying a mouthful, as you well know, from coaching against his teams for 10 years.
I really like that they can play the 3 guards together with Austrie, Walker, and Price. That gives them another dimension that they haven't had in years.
UConn has gone to the free throw line 8 times to none for Bryant.
See Lyle bringing the ball up there. Even though he's a small forward and even a power forward, he can handle the ball, and he'll help Timmy O'Shea a lot today against UConn's pressure.
Latham guarded by number 2, Donnell Beverly, who's checked in for the Huskies. Lyle, kick out to LeClaire. Down low, Ponce, who hits the turnaround right over Edwards.
Bryant acts like they've been here before,
Yeah.
Bob. They're playing with a lot of freedom out there. They're playing tough. They're playing hard. They're aggressive in their zone.
Austrie with the runners. Nice touch. Austrie and Adrian, the veterans on this team. The holdovers from that team, which went to the Elite Eight in 2006 before they were stunned by George Mason, one step shy of the Final Four. Gresham, quick catch and shoot. Rebound, Beverly, and he will be fouled from behind. Or no, it hit the top of the backboard. So it will go out of bounds to UConn. Bryant hanging in, only down one. A lot easier to make this transition when you've had success at the Division II level.
Well, Bryant has a great tradition. Max Good left a tremendous foundation of winning at Bryant College, going to the NCAAs the last 5 years. Max left. He went back to the Division I ranks. Timmy came in from Ohio U. He's had tremendous success there. He's averaged 20 wins a year in his last 5 seasons there. Bryant's got a great university, tremendous facilities. I was there the other day. President Ron Makeley. He's really got a great vision for this future of this program, and I think they're going to be there one day.
And Tim O'Shea told me, he says, look, once we get the schedule under control and bring in some recruits, and they've already signed 4 for next year, I think we'll be able to compete just nicely in the Northeast 10. They will play a full Northeast Conference, rather. They left the Northeast 10. Austrie hits the runner. But next year, they will play a complete Northeast Conference schedule, although they won't be eligible to compete in the conference tournament until 2012. Gresham, that's his spot. I think he just looks for the footprints over there. Put back by Ponce.
Bryant's doing a nice job of attacking this pressure. When we went to practice this week, they played against 6 guys every day in practice, so they're ready for the first wave of this pressure, and they're doing a good job of not trying to take the ball into Thabit.
That's the first easy look the Huskies got inside as Beverly found Thabit. UConn by 3 as we near the midway point of the half. Latham down low, head fake Ponce once, twice, and you got to believe that Thabit at least altered the trajectory of that one. This is Price, finds Adrian at the foul line. Right side, Austrie. Adrian on the floor and uses the left hand. And Tim O'Shea wants to talk things over with his club down 5. This is UConn's biggest lead of the afternoon.
You've got to shrink the defense in order to get the ball down into the paint. You've got to go inside out first. You've got to get the ball to the foul line, go into the short baseline. Adrian does a nice job with the left hand. Someone from Bryant's got to step in there and try to take the charge.
The first transition score for the Huskies. Golf fans and club pros, registration for the 2009 ESPN National Golf Challenge is already underway for courses and teams in the gross, net, and new 55 and older senior division. For more information, log on to ESPNGolf.com. And on my drive to the XL Center today, Tim, I saw a couple of very loyal golfers out swinging the clubs in Southington, right along Interstate 84.
Well, George Blaney and Jim Calhoun, I think, forgot that I'm on TV now that I'm going to sneak out that they played golf after their win over Wisconsin down in the Virgin Islands last week.
Yeah, well, these guys weren't playing golf in the Virgin Islands that I saw today. They were playing in Southington, Connecticut, where the temperature was probably about 40 degrees.
It's a toasty day here in Connecticut for November.
This is number 4, Jaron Wright back in. Left early with 2 personal fouls. Burrell, the point guard, number 11, also back in. Shot clock inside 10. Burrell goes around the screen, left side 3, Latham, and the foul. A chance for a 4-point play.
Now that was an excellent possession by Bryant. That's exactly how Timmy O'Shea practiced it all week. That was their game plan. After this basketball game, they're going to show his basketball team this is how we wanted to execute. Run the shot clock down, make UConn make the mistake. They drove the ball into the gap after the high screen, sucked the defense in, and then kicked to the shooter in the corner.
Latham, who played his high school ball here in Connecticut at Marianapolis Prep in Thompson, under a great coach, Dave Vitale. Any relation to the other Vitale we both know?
No, much quieter.
Well, the law of averages would suggest that he would be. Just kidding, Dick. We're going to get a foul on setting the screen called, and Thabit picks up his second personal, and number 3 in the team.
You saw Bryant go inside 2 or 3 possessions ago, and They tried to take the ball to the shot blockers. I think that's a mistake. If you go inside, they have to go quickly to the rim or draw the defense in and try to spot back out to the shooters on the perimeter.
Bryant has knocked down half of its 8 3-point attempts in the first 10.5 minutes. Burrell defended by Walker. Number 10, Peter Lambert, is checked in for Bryant. This is right. He's going to go right at the beat. And can't get it to fall. Here comes Austrie. Austrie picks up the bounce, finds Walker, who launches the three. Got it.
That's one of the dimensions that he brings. He can get the ball into the middle of the gap. He's a push point, but he also is a solid shooter from the perimeter.
4-3 of the game for Walker. We are at the XL Center in downtown Hartford, Connecticut. Glad you've joined us for Big East basketball. Bryant, first year in Division I, playing number 2 UConn. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with Tim Welsh. We hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday weekend. 8:30 remaining first half. UConn up 5. Lambert, right side 3. He's now 1 for 11 from the floor this season. Here's Walker, ahead to Adrian. Catches it, is surrounded by 4 guys in the dark shirts. Didn't matter.
UConn will take bad shot selection and automatically turn it into transition points at the other end. And that time you saw it again with Adrian finishing on the low box.
7 points for Adrian. The Huskies are shooting 50% from the floor. It is Bryant's 3-point shooting that has kept them within an arm's length. And Gresham knocks down another 3.
He's a nice-looking player. He's got a great pace to his game. He's not forcing shots now. And they're doing a fantastic job of finding him on the wing.
He's got 12 points on 4 3-pointers in 6 3-point attempts. Adrian, there's that high-low action again, Tim.
That's deadly. You cannot let the ball into the foul line. Bryant must make UConn almost play a high school zone. Pack it into the point where they have 3-4 guys in the paint. Keep the ball out of the foul line.
UConn has made its last 6 2-point attempts. Up by 6 as we approach the 7-minute mark. Lyle gives to right. Burrell goes around the screen set by Gresham. Shot clock at 10. Right, backs in on Thabit, who's got 2 fouls. Shot clock at 3. Burrell launches it, doesn't get anywhere near the rim, and here comes UConn with Walker. Look at the change of direction on that bounce. Thabit with the putback goes up, is stripped but is also fouled, and the big fellow will shoot a couple of free throws when we return. Hasheem Thabit, a preseason nominee for the Wooden Award. Preseason All-Big East selection as well. He's got 6 points. Check out our stat track, and Tim, the Huskies are shooting very well from the floor in the first 13-plus minutes.
Well, they're getting the ball on the inside of Bryant's zone now. They're finding the cracks in the defense. They're moving the ball well. They're setting some picks on the perimeter, getting the ball down to the short baseline. In the last 2 out of the last 3 possessions, trying to look high-low, which they get the ball, and they have too much power for Bryant inside.
Huskies out-rebounding Bryant by 7. The only negative is the Huskies are giving up way too many wide-open 3-point looks.
Well, the threes are coming because they're putting pressure on the perimeter. I think their weak side defense is a little bit lax right now. I think Jim's talked to him a little bit about that in the last couple timeouts. Look for them to extend the pressure on the basketball, but not give so much help on the driving kicks.
Thabit makes a couple of free throws and gets a seat. He's got 8, replaced by Edwards. And here comes some full court man pressure applied by the Huskies with Walker on Burrell. What do you think of Walker as a man-to-man defender in the early going?
Oh, he's terrific. After 5 games as a freshman, to be leading this team in steals is tremendous. He had the great game against Wisconsin. He had 10 steals, leads the team on the season. He had 4 steals against Wisconsin at the top of their press, both in the 2-2-1 and man-to-man.
Shot clock down to 5. This is Burrell. Lyle puts it on the floor. Shot clock at 1. Gresham beats the block. Doesn't hit the rim, and it's a shot clock violation. Only the 4th turnover for Tim O'Shea's club, and that's got to be considered a victory. Only 4 turnovers in the first 14 minutes.
It is. doing a good job with the clock, but now they have to do a better job setting screens. They're not freeing up anybody. They're kind of just going east-west with their routes for offenses instead of getting into the gaps.
Adrian with the miss. Rebound is pulled down by Ponce, and here comes Burrell, whose dad, Bob, once pitched for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Lyle to Burrell. Burrell goes around the screen, doubled by Adrian, gets the return pass and the open three. Rebound pulled down by Adrian. It's his fifth. Adrian's the sixth leading rebounder in the Big East, and that's only the fourth turnover for UConn.
Now, a bad pass by Adrian, but the guard's got to come back and get the ball as well. They all were running away in transition and trying to finish at the end instead of doing their job, getting the ball in the middle of the floor and running the show on the fast break.
Lyle defended by Edwards. And timeout called by Tim O'Shea with 18 seconds left on the shot clock. Of course, Tim O'Shea very familiar with UConn from Tim's days as the associate head coach under Al Skinner when Boston College was in the Big East.
Well, Tim O'Shea was a great hire for Bryant University. Tremendous success at Ohio U. Won 79 games his last 4 seasons there. Took them to the NCAA tournament in the Mid-American Conference. Was a great recruiter for Al Skinner at Boston College and URI, and a tremendous player himself. Played under Tom Davis and Gary Williams. So they've done a great job at Bryant putting together not only a future for their basketball program. They hired Mike Pressler, the former Duke lacrosse coach, Marty Fine, an ex-assistant coach from Ohio State, as their football coach. Tremendous vision on that campus right now. Tim O'Shea was a great hire.
And there's Tim O'Shea's resume, as you said, played at BC, longtime assistant under Al Skinner, 9 years at Rhode Island under Al, another 4 at BC, before getting his first head coaching opportunity and making the most of it at Ohio. Out of the timeout, Bryant, shot clock down to 10. Let's see what O'Shea drew up in the huddle and whether the Huskies can stop it. Lyle went by Edwards. I'm sure they didn't draw up that. The pass was behind Ponce, turnover number 5. Here's Price. Dyson fakes one way, goes the other. Bounce pass to Price. Gives up high to Edwards. Austrie, open look from the left. Knocks it down.
Mr. Consistency, Mr. Solid. Craig Austrie is a kind of an unsung player in this program. 42-9, Bob, as a starter throughout his career.
7-0 UConn run.
You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
42-9.
And you know what? He came out of a great winning program in high school also, and that never hurts.
Trinity Catholic in Stanford. Mike Walsh, one of the best coaches in New England.
Won a couple of state championships there when Craig was a player there. 103-6 in 4 years. Adrian makes it a 9-0 UConn run. Huskies starting to pull away.
Well, again, UConn doing a tremendous job getting the ball into the open spaces of the defense. They're reversing the ball quickly on the perimeter, then looking into the foul line area, which is wide open right now.
LeClaire gives to Gresham. Back to LeClaire, guarded by Price. Around the Lyle screen, and Edwards jumped the screen. Latham with a hand in his face. Long rebound to LeClaire and a new shot clock.
Well, UConn's now aware that Gresham is pretty much the only guy that can really hurt them out there. Jerome Dyson is basically just face guarding him on the defensive end.
UConn has held Gresham to 7 shots in the first 17 minutes. Lyle, open look over Edwards. Rebound will be picked up on a hop by Price. 3.5 minutes remaining first half. UConn by 13. The no-look pass to Adrian. Kick out Dyson. Penetrates. Dishes. Austrie. The runner. Looked like he might have gotten bumped.
Great ball movement, spacing, unselfishness on the part of UConn. I think that's why they're better this year, Bob. They have more options out there. They know each other better. They trust each other on the basketball court.
Bryant has missed its last 7 3-point attempts. It has helped fuel an 11-0 UConn run. Gresham for 3. Well, that ends that drought. He's got 15 points, all on 3-pointers. 15 of his team's 26.
That actually wasn't bad defense. That was a tough shot.
Gresham 5 for 8 from 3-point range as Price starts to go. He will draw a blocking foul on Bryant, and he will go to the line. So Craig Austrie has given the Huskies double-digit scoring here in the first half. He leads the way with 11. It's Dozens Huskies, Tim, over the years, they're known for their transition offense, but they can execute in the half court as well.
Well, collapsing the zone is very important. You see UConn gets the ball into the foul line, then goes inside, then back out, then dribble penetration, makes the defense change sides of the floor. Guys go inside, they go back out, and then Dyson does a nice job of getting in the gap, skipping the ball to Austri, and then the pump fake, taking the ball to the rack on the baseline.
Price misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
They have so many options out there. They're doing a tremendous job of finding all the seams of the zone.
This is Wright, who picked up 2 early fouls. Burrell, they look for Gresham. Dyson's guarding him. Entry pass deflected away by Adrian. Lyle, back to Gresham. Wants to go right at Dyson, and does. And Adrian with the first block of the afternoon for him. Right side 3 by Price is no good. Long rebound. Gresham inside 2 minutes. Bryant looking for something in transition here. Latham for 3. And Edwards up in the air for second rebound.
Not an advisable shot by Bryant. I know they're trying to see if they're open. They'll take some quick threes, but they have to be more patient.
Adrian with the miss. Edwards kept the rebound alive.
Well, Bryant has no answer for that. It's basically volleyball on the interior. That's why on the offensive end of the floor, they really have to be patient and take every possession and make them golden.
Here's Lyle. They'll give him plenty of room from there. See how Edwards plays off him. That location on the court. Right to Gresham. They double him, and Edwards at 6'9" had the hand in his face, and Austri gets the rebound. Here's Price. 1 minute to go in the half. Price knocks down the 3.
Very impressed with Price, Bob, on how he's recovered from the ACL. It looks like he's got great quickness now. He doesn't look like he's lost a step at all from the injury.
Jim Calhoun said going into the season, him, meaning Calhoun's concern was how it affected Price mentally, and that's a huge part of the recovery process from a torn ACL.
Well, there's no question, but after all he's gone through in his career with the life-threatening injury a couple years ago, the ACL probably really didn't bother him. He thought probably, let's just work through it and I'll be back.
UConn with his first half use it or lose it timeout. Just a 1 second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, so the Huskies can run it all the way down and take the last shot. Coming up at halftime, Tim and I will look around the Big East. We'll tell you about what we like to call the Dandy Dozen, some players who are sort of flying under the radar. We'll also take a look at the Big East impact nationally early in this college basketball season, and also has some highlights and stats. And of course, when you think of Thanksgiving week, Tim, we have all these tournaments that have really come about. Used to be just a couple of them. Now there's so many choices for schools to go play with outstanding fields, and the Big East teams fared very well. We know UConn won the Paradise Jam, but Syracuse with a huge win in the CBE Classic in Kansas City.
Well, especially coming from double-digit figures down in the second half. Jimmy Boeheim ditched the 2-3 zone and went man-to-man against Kansas. Really got them into an up-tempo game. Anawaku, tremendous player inside for them. Andy Routen's coming back after the torn ACL, along with Eric Devendorf. Team not even ranked, picked 8th in this conference. I think probably will crack the rankings this week on Monday.
Let's see what UConn drew up in the huddle. Thabit and Adrian both out of the game. Edwards and Akwandu down low, along with Dyson, Austri, and Walker on the perimeter. Down to 8. Here's Dyson. Goes around a healthy screen set by Akwandu. Wow.
Great mid-range shot by Dyson. Tremendous patience. Nice, well-played half by Connecticut.
Huskies in the first half knocked down 16 of their 29 shots. They shot 55%. Austri led the way with 11. 4 from 6 from the floor. So it all adds up to a 17-point lead at the half. In a moment, we'll take a look at the Dandy Dozen in the Big East. 11-0 late first half run. UConn has opened up a 17-point lead over Bryant at halftime. Bob Picozzi and Tim Welsh back in Hartford as we take a look at the first half highlights. And Tim, we began the day by talking about Gresham, and for good reason. He's terrific.
Well, Cecil Gresham, 30% of their offense on the season. He got over the top of UConn's press. I think UConn forgot the scatter report. He's the only guy that can really knock him down. He had 3 early threes, all from that left wing. He's a dangerous player.
And for UConn, they knocked down some threes as well. They had a lot of open looks.
Well, they did. They played very unselfishly. They attacked the zone well. Bryant packed it in early. They went inside out. They got into the gaps. They made the extra pass. Price, Austrie from the perimeter. Then they started to go into the interior of the zone. They went high-low. Edwards took the beat. They found all the necessary gaps in the inside.
And as we look at the first half statistics, really no surprise that UConn made many more trips to the free throw line.
Well, it's power against a team that's on the rise, hopefully 3-4 years from now, because they can't compete with UConn on the interior because they have too much size, too much strength. UConn did a good job of not just coming down and moving the ball around the perimeter and jacking shots. They still pushed the ball, and they got it on the inside when they had to against the zone.
The Huskies looking to go 6-0. They're halfway there with a 17-point lead. Back with the start of the second half right after this. All set to start the second half. Let's quickly update our Star Watch. And one of the big stats for Thabit, Tim, is he only played 11 first half minutes.
Well, when he was in the basketball game, they did a good job of getting the ball to him on the high-low and on the interior. His job, though, tonight is on the defensive end of the floor, where he really is a presence inside and keeping Bryant out of the paint. A big reason they've only gone to the free throw line one time.
Bryant emerges from the locker room and tried to run a backdoor play, but it wasn't executed very well. Only the 6th turnover for the Bulldogs. Price on the right to Dyson. Down low Thabit. He's doubled and he's fouled. Wright was on one side, and he quickly picks up his 3rd foul. He picked up 2 very early in the game. There's a look at Wright, who made the Northeast 10 All-Rookie team as a freshman. Nicknamed J-Dub, senior out of Cincinnati. Uh-oh. Can't be giving up easy hoops like that.
Well, they paid so much attention to beat that time that they forgot the rest of the crew, including Dyson, going on the back end of the zone.
UConn exerting some full court pressure as Burrell brings it across. Finds Lyle. Here's Burrell again. Guarded by Price. To Latham. Lyle. Dyson's done a good job guarding Gresham. At least he did toward the tail end of the first half. Now the shot clock all the way down to 7. Burrell goes baseline, comes out the other side, and uses the rim to his advantage.
Well, whether they score or not, they use the shot clock, and that's their game plan. They've got to make UConn play defense for 25 to 32 seconds, and that time they did, and they found the open seam on the baseline.
It's not an over and back because the ball had been deflected by Bryant. On the right, it's Dyson. Dyson took only 4 first half shots. Inside Adrian, back to Dyson for the jumper.
The best way to beat the defense, Bob, go inside then out. The biggest misconception is you come down, you're going to have a bunch of wide open threes against the zone. But the only way to do that is to shrink the defense by going on the interior first, and UConn did a great job with that time.
And also reversing the ball, right?
Absolutely, making the defense switch sides of the floor.
Here's Burrell up top. Latham gets a half step on Dyson. Good help defense by Austrie and a charge on Gresham. That's his first foul and 2 on Bryant this half.
Well, nice play on defensively by UConn, but a bad play by Bryant. They've got a driving kick. They drew the defense in, and part of their game plan is to drive, bring the defense in, and then drive, kick back out to the shooters. That time they did.
UConn #1 in the Big East preseason poll, receiving 9 of 16 votes, #2 in the country, leading the way among the 7 Big East teams who are nationally ranked. Price with a drop step. Adrian not quite prepared for that pass. 5th turnover for UConn. And as we look at the preseason poll, UConn #1, Louisville 2, Pittsburgh 3. Throw out North Carolina. It looks like the top of the national ranking.
Well, never in my wildest dreams would you think that you picked 7th preseason, and that's bad. But it's not. It's excellent, and you're ranked in the top 20 in the country. And I can't wait for January. This year the league is just beyond belief.
Here's Dyson with the steal. Let's see what he does with Latham. Oh, what a great play by Latham to catch up and knock it away without committing a foul.
It's interesting, Bob, when you look at the league, there's so many good teams, and there's a great steal by Dyson, and I think that's what he's done this year. He's become a better, not only on-ball defender, but off the ball as well, where he has great anticipation. But going back to the league, I think the teams in the league, they know what they're up against this year. So I think you're seeing a few more of the top teams play a tougher schedule in the preseason than you have in previous years.
UConn shooting 58% from the floor. Adrian with the missed rebound is pulled down by Burrell. Down low right, and Adrian rejected that one, didn't he? Fifth block shot of the game for UConn. The second for Adrian, who catches it at the other end. How about the plays he made at the two ends of the court?
It doesn't matter if he's playing Bryant or he's playing in St. Thomas or playing in the Big East Championship. Jerome Dyson and Jeff Adrian play at one level, and Adrian has been a warrior for 4 years here, and there was a great example.
Burrell knocks down the deep three. He had been 0 for 3 from behind the arc.
And there's Dyson at the other end, right off the make. Transition UConn basketball. You can't fall asleep, makes or misses. They really push the ball up the court.
Dyson with 9. He's averaging 18. He's probably UConn's the guy who can score in more different ways on the floor than anyone else on the roster.
When I saw him play in prep school at Proctor up in New Hampshire, he played a lot of point guard, and a lot of people did recruit him as a point guard coming out of high school. So eventually, I think someday he may become a point guard.
Look out. What's he going to do here? See that one from a mile away. In addition to everything else, he's got some major ups. UConn 5 for 6 from the floor in the second half, and Dyson has scored 8 points in the first 4 minutes. Right with the Beat's hand right in his face. UConn by 20. We've played 4 minutes second half. Next up for the Huskies will be Delaware State Monday night at Campbell Pavilion. Adrian goes to the floor, and Thabit with the foul.
Well, the interesting thing there is Bryant had him blocked out, but it didn't matter.
Not at 7-3. So Thabit's got 10. He's the third Husky in double figures, joining Austrie and Dyson, who have 11 each. And Adrian will be there after he scores his next point, as will Price. Gresham with Dyson's hand in his face. He had more than it in his face. He's called for his first foul, and number 1 on the Huskies. It's only the 4th foul on UConn today. When Jerome Dyson gets the ball on the open floor, you know something memorable is about to happen. Those high percentage shots will help the old shooting percentage, and the Huskies are shooting 59.5% from the line. To the free throw line, shooting a couple. Gresham, that's only Bryant's second free throw attempt of the afternoon.
Well, coming out of the locker room, I thought Timmy O'Shea probably was pretty happy with the first half, and the fact they only had 5 turnovers. Now in the first 4 minutes of the second half, they've already got 4 turnovers. So they've got to take better care of the basketball, not only with their cuts and spacing, but identifying where UConn's defense is and passing away from it.
Gresham 1 for 2, and Bryant rebounds the missed free throw, and then Gresham will be called for his second charge in the first 5 minutes here in the second half.
Mike Stevens on the call there. Up-and-coming official, had yesterday's NIT final, Oklahoma and Purdue, which was a tremendous game at Madison Square Garden.
Sure was. That Griffin's a pretty good player, isn't he, for the Sooners?
Wow. Blake Griffin, I think, is maybe the best all-around player in America. Tyler Hansbrough, though, was pretty impressive in Maui.
Price, left side 3, can't get it to go. Thabit with the rebound. He is 5 for 5 to the floor. And he'll get a trip to the line as well. Biggest lead of the afternoon for UConn. It's one thing to stay with UConn for a while, but it's tough if you're a school like Bryant to hang in for 40 minutes.
Well, Timmy O'Shea, when he looked at this schedule, he understood that, you know, these are all learning experiences. He's going to take today's game, and he's going to try to build recruiting with a game like this. He's playing at BC, he's playing at Iowa, at Maryland, at Providence, at Rutgers. Certainly not something that you want to build your whole career on, but he's going to try to build for the future. He signed 5 recruits in the early signing period, which I think are all going to be positive influences in his program. 2-3 years from now, his program will be near the top of the Northeast Conference.
Thabit will take a rest with 13 points, the third Husky in double figures. And he has yet to miss from the floor. Also, he's yet to miss from the line, 3 for 3.
Little flex here.
Yep, inside out results in the open look by Lyle. But the rebound is Adrian's. It's his 7th. Look at Walker get up and down the floor in a hurry. Wow.
Little New York City there, Bob, coast to coast, but under control.
Foul on number 32, McLean.
Really has his head up in transition. The great crossover, then gets in the lane under control, throws his body. A lot of players won't throw their body into the contact. They'll try to avoid the contact. Walker did a great job of throwing his body inside into the player to draw the foul and then finish the play.
He had a terrific tournament. The Virgin Islands, career high 23 points against LaSalle. And he had 8 rebounds and 4 steals in the championship game win over Wisconsin.
Well, that's one thing when I coached, Bob. I always tried to recruit from great programs, and Kemba Walker came from one of the best in the country, Rice High School out of New York City. You could see how well coached he is.
Rush have used the glass on that one. They all count. He's got 6 threes and 19 points, equaling his average for the year. Austrie tries to answer.
Mr. Solid.
5 for 7 from the floor for 14 points for Austrie.
He reminds me of Mariano Rivera. He just is a cool cucumber. He never changes his facial expression. He doesn't make mistakes on the floor.
He plays a lot more than 1 inning.
Absolutely.
Lambert. Up top to 32, McLean. Lambert looking inside. Shot clock at 10. Clock down to 7. LeClaire puts it on the floor. Nicely done to McLean.
That's the patience Bryant needs. They need to run the shot clock and find the shot that is best for them, not forcing UConn to make them take a quick shot.
UConn is shooting 75% from the floor here in the first 7 minutes of the second half, and Price adds to it.
Well, if they're going to play the zone, they better go out and contest the shots. And now Bryant looks like they're a little fatigued out there on the floor, and Timmy probably could use a timeout at some point.
Price becomes the 4th Husky in double figures. He's got 12 points, all on 3-pointers, 4 for 8 for behind the arc. UConn shooting 50% from 3-point range at 7 for 14. Lyle to McLean off glass.
Extra pass, good patience by Bryant there.
McLean had scored only 2 points in his first 3 games, and he's got 4 today. Bryant is shooting 75% from the floor in the second half. Problem is they don't have as many shots as the Huskies since halftime. Walker, Price, can he do it again? Up in the air for the rebound at 6-1 is LeClaire, who played on a state championship team last year in Maine. He'll celebrate his 20th birthday tomorrow.
Well, LeClaire's the one lone freshman that was recruited to be a Division I recruit, so he's an important piece to the program as they move forward. But they did sign 5 recruits in the early period. And one thing Timmy O'Shea will do is he's a proven recruiter, and he'll find the guys around the country that really are under the radar, as he did at Boston College and Ohio U.
Lyle now 4 for 8 from 3-point range this season, his first 3 of the day. Adrian down low, kick out Price, yet another wide open 3. Rebound pulled down by Lyle, his 4th. Bryant 9 for 20 from 3-point range. McLean with the miss. Rebound Walker. Walker, in addition to everything else he's done for UConn this year, is averaging 4 rebounds per game from his point guard spot. Price with the pull-up. That's his first 2 of the afternoon.
Good quickness on the baseline drive there by A.J. Price, showing no ill effects of the knee.
Price with 14 shares team-high honors with Austrie. Lambert, catch and shoot. Peter Lambert had just 3 points this season, and he gets 3 more on that 3.
You see the three-guard look by UConn right now, which really, as they move forward, nice charge there.
It will be Adrian's first foul of the afternoon, and only number 2 on UConn. Thabit will re-enter when we come back, but UConn has opened up a 21-point lead over the visitors from Rhode Island. And part of Tim O'Shea's staff at Bryant includes someone that you're very familiar with, Tim, from your days at Providence.
Kevin Kerbeck was my assistant, not for 10 years. When I got there 10 years ago, he was only a freshman, so he's still young, but a tireless worker, a young, bright mind, and I had a nickname for Kevin when he was on my staff.
Can we say it on the air?
Well, yeah, back from the old days, Bob. You and I remember the MASH. I used to call him radar because he always knew what I was thinking before I said it, or even sometimes I thought it. So every good head coach needs one of those, and Kevin's a young, bright mind on Timmy's staff.
Your director of basketball operations has to have that radar.
Absolutely.
Out of the timeout, it's Bryant ball, 22 Latham. The cut to Gresham, no good, and Khabib pulls down rebound number 7. Here's Dyson the other way. Austrie for 3, no good, and McLean was holding Adrian down low. Will not get away with it. That's his 3rd foul and number 6 on the team, so it will stay at this end of the floor. Just to give you an example of what Bryant's up against him, Bryant is shooting 62% from the floor in the second half, and a 17-point halftime lead has widened to 21.
Well, the main part of that is that they have not had good possessions on the offensive end other than the times they've scored. The other possessions, they've turned the ball over, and when you do that against Connecticut, it's easy buckets down the other end.
Hashim Thabit, 6 for 6 from the floor, 15 points, as we're past the midway point of the second half.
I believe that's what Jim Calhoun expressed in the last time out. The last few possessions before that, they were just kind of passing the ball around the perimeter instead of going inside.
Thabit was his 3rd block shot of the afternoon. He's 2nd in UConn history. That was the 290th of his career. He's 152 behind the record, held by Emeka Okafor. Price for 3, and inside, we're going to get a foul in the lane. And it's going to be on Adrian, his 2nd and number 3 on UConn in the second half.
That was a great block by Thabit down the other end. Now, the Bryant bench wanted a goaltending. We're not sure if it was. I can't tell you from that angle. But, Bob, the new rule this year says that if the ball hits the board at all above the rim, it's goaltending. It doesn't have to be on its flight downward, which kind of takes away the question of it's on downward flight or not from the referees. But Thabit has great timing on the interior, although Timmy O'Shea differed on that call.
That rule will help take away one of the many countless judgments officials have to make during a game. Do you like it?
I like it a lot. I mean, that is a very, very difficult call.
Ponce with the miss. Rebound Dyson. He's got Edwards left. Price right. He finds Price. Blind pass to Austrie on the left wing. Out of the double team to Dyson for the pull-up. Thabit finally missed the shot. His first miss in 7 attempts. Austrie got the rebound and got hammered as he went to the line.
Well, that's where the guards have to do a better job for Bryant of getting on the interior, finding those loose balls, those second shots that come off against zones on the short baseline on the wing area. And that's where Austrie did a nice job there of finding the loose ball on the baseline and now getting to the free throw line.
Tim, every coach has his own philosophy when it comes to scheduling out of league, and obviously Bryant is not at UConn's level, nor is the opponent Monday night Delaware State. How do you feel about the non-conference schedule that Jim Calhoun has played each year? Whatever it is, it works because they do pretty well in March.
Well, I think you have to have a mix. You can't go too top-heavy where your team gets worn out before the league, especially when you're in a league as powerful as the Big East, or you can't be too bottom-heavy where your team doesn't get enough preparation to face the teams you're going to have to face on a nightly basis starting in January. But I think Jim Calhoun has a good feel not only for season to season, but what type of basketball team he has, whether it's a young team or if it's more of a veteran team. I think he'll escape out and play more non-conference games, especially on the road.
And that December 20th date with Gonzaga won't be on Gonzaga's home floor, but it will be in Seattle, which is in the same state. That ought to be a classic. Gonzaga just blew out a Maryland team yesterday that beat 6th-ranked Michigan State the day before.
Well, I was at the game in Boston last year when Gonzaga came back late to beat Connecticut, and it was a tremendous basketball game, high-scoring affair, a lot of good offensive execution. I think both teams are much improved this year, so it should even be a better basketball game in December.
And Mark Few was telling you that he maybe likes this team more than any other one he's had in
I can
Gonzaga?
see why. I was out at Mark Few's golf event in August, and we got talking, and he thought that this year's team, and he's not one for high praise, that this may be his best team that he's had. I saw it last night. They really put a hurting on Maryland down in Orlando, and I can't wait for the game tomorrow night between Gonzaga and Tennessee in the finals of the Orlando tournament.
The Old Spice Classic. Tennessee beating Georgetown in the first semifinal yesterday. That foul was on Akwandu, his first 4 on the team. Ponce a little quick on the trigger on that shot, with no one in rebounding position for Bryant. Dyson, pull-up jumper. Rebound inside. Okwandu did the hard part. Dyson comes away with the steal. Price starts to go.
Really love the way how tough Dyson's playing. He's really playing hard on the defensive end of the floor, off the ball, anticipation. They're really staying in the play to get that steal to keep the ball alive and get it back from UConn.
Huskies will inbound. Checking into the game for UConn freshman Scotty Harrelson, number 30. He is someone who the Huskies consider as their best three-point shooter, but he has struggled from three-point range early in the season, and it has really affected his playing time.
Well, the playing time's there. Without Robinson there on the floor, Jim's been pretty limited with his rotations at the 2 and 3 spots, so Harrelson has an opportunity here in the next few weeks to see if he can get into the rotation.
Dyson with the miss. Akwandu with another offensive rebound. He's got to go back up when you're 7-1. You don't want to dribble it back out. Price penetrates. Akwandu with another offensive rebound, but he cannot maintain possession. It's a 24-point UConn lead. Akwandu, the young man from Nigeria, getting some playing time down the stretch in this one. Tim, the Huskies have great depth on the perimeter, but they also have a veteran presence inside in the 4 and 5 spots.
Well, Bryant's vastly undersized, but it doesn't matter. I call this double trouble for UConn. Adrian and Tabit, first the block by Adrian, then the finish inside, power, good body execution there, keeping under control. Then Tabit coming over, the intimidator on the inside, then the follow-up on the miss on the inside on the other end, the offense on the floor.
UConn with 6 block shots today. They've led the country in block shots a record 8 years in a row, although oddly enough, early this season, they're only 3rd in the Big East in block shots. But there's plenty of time for that to change.
Well, I think that may change this year if Jim sticks with his 3-guard look. With Jerome Dyson playing the 3 spot, that's not the normal 3rd shot blocker that Connecticut has, but I think that gives them much more offensive firepower.
But that could change when Stanley Robinson comes back, because he can block some
Absolutely.
shots. The offensive putback by Tabit, and Lambert at 6'1" had no choice. He just reached out and tried to grab Thabit's wrist, sending Thabit to the line. Let's talk a little bit about Stanley Robinson. Will come back. Huskies will play only 2 more games, then get him back. He's 6'9". He plays the 3 spot. He's obviously very big for a 3 player. But UConn's got a rotation here now. That rotation is going to be dramatically altered when he comes back. Could that possibly, as good as Robinson is, he's very talented, could that disrupt the rhythm of a team?
Well, I think Jim Calhoun's coach. He knows Robinson, he knows his game. Robinson knows his team. Rhythm basketball. He'll have the Christmas break to do that a little bit, but more options, and I think that's more where, playing these early games will benefit them down the road to play without him.
Adrian with the putback. He's got 11, so the Huskies now have 5 players in double figures.
Well, Adrian's also a guy that can move to the 5 spot, and Robinson could play the 4, and they could still play the 3 guards and be very, very dangerous offensively and get out and pressure people on the defensive end of the floor as well.
Robinson averaged 10.6 rebounds and blocked 42 shots last year. Took the first semester this year off, so he will return at the end of this semester. He'll be eligible for the Stony Brook game on December 15th. McLean gets the layup on a nicely executed possession for the Bulldogs. And also coming back for that same game, or coming, I should say, will be 6'10" Atir Majuk, a young man from the Sudan who now lives in Australia, and that will make the Huskies even bigger.
Well, he'll give him another interior presence, security blanket. A guy like that, it's going to be very, very difficult to all of a sudden say, here's practice, here's our game plan, here's our offensive systems, our defensive systems, then all of a sudden, here's Georgetown. So that's not going to happen, I don't think, this year. Maybe spot duty here and there. Foul trouble, maybe if there's an injury or sickness in the middle of the Big East, he can fill in and help, because size is always important. Backup size is very important.
And the UConn Huskies will be playing Georgetown very early in the Big East season. It's their conference opener right here in Hartford on December 29th. Battle of the big men then, huh?
Certainly is. Yesterday, I think, Bob, was my best Thanksgiving I ever had. First of all, I didn't have to watch tape except for this and get ready for a game. Secondly, there's so many good early games here.
Lambert for 3, no good. Rebound baseline Nice hustle there by Latham. Adrian with the foul over the back. That will be his third. And number 5 on UConn.
When you look at the 2 tournaments last week, one in the Virgin Islands and the Puerto Rican tournament, and then this week the Old Spice in Orlando. You've got the tournament in Anaheim last night that kept me up until the wee hours of the morning watching Arizona State and Baylor. And now you've got the Big East starting before New Year's. So basketball is coming earlier and often and even better this season.
Do you think it's a good idea to expand the conference schedule, those extra 2 games, 16 to 18?
Well, you have to. With the 16 teams, there's so many teams, you've got to keep everybody playing everybody at some point, so I think it's a good idea.
McLean now with 8 points. It's UConn by 23. Of course, this also will be the first time that the Big East has all 16 teams playing in the conference tournament. Since the league expanded to 16, the teams which finished 13 through 16 did not qualify for the tournament. Good idea or bad?
Well, I know the first year it came up in our coaches' meetings that it was the idea of that someone may not go to the tournament. We voted and we discussed it. It was about a 30-second discussion. It was 16-0. All the coaches said everyone should go because that in itself can really be demoralizing, not only for a coach, but for a program if you don't make the Big East tournament.
And this is what we're talking about, the Big East tournament, as always at Madison Square Garden. All 6 teams will be there. And how do you like the way the format has been structured to protect the top 4 teams so they don't have to play the first day?
Well, you have to protect them because if they have to play the first day and you end up playing 4 or 5 days, depending on how the tournament is set up, it leads too quickly and too long into the next weekend, which is the NCAA tournament, which will hurt your teams as you go into March Madness.
Foul was on Latham, his second, and 7 on the team. Harrelson will return for the Huskies. Harrelson out of Jackson, Mississippi. After the missed free throw, there was a foul on the rebound on Lambert, his second, and that will be 8 team fouls.
It'll be interesting to see, Bob, how the fans take to that extra day in New York. As far as I know, college basketball fans are begging for more basketball, so why not an extra day? A Tuesday in New York City,
pretty good
why
location
not?
for it, huh?
Why not? Tuesday in the Garden.
UConn shooting just 58% from the foul line. Austry sits down with 15 points. He had a career-high 21 points against Hartford. Of course, it's one of the great events if you're a basketball fan to attend the Big East tournament. Nothing but basketball now for 5 straight days.
I know I'll be calling you for a ticket that day, Bob. Hopefully you'll give.
McLean, ball fake. Oh, you can't play that any better if you're McLean going.
Nice move by McLean. Really nice move. He took it right to beat Chin, gave him the little, and then came with the left hand.
I think he's earned some extra playing time. He averages 8 minutes per game. He scored 2 points in the first 3 games. He's 5 for 6 from the floor today.
Well, I think all of Bryant has earned a lot of confidence. They've gained a lot of confidence by just this performance. I mean, people have talked about a 30, a 40, a 50-point game today. Here we've got a 22-point game with 4.5 minutes to go. Bryant has shown itself very, very well today.
Adrian with his 13th and 14th points after Harrelson missed the 3. He is 0 for 6 from 3-point range. There's a young man who desperately needs to drain one to gain some confidence.
As a young player, confidence is always an issue. If you only need to make a couple, coach gives you a little pat on the back, nice job, that may lead to something better.
Tim O'Shea says we have great kids. They play hard. They're mentally tough. They were extremely successful at the Division II level. They're getting some good experience today. For Tim O'Shea at Bryant, who's playing the number 2 team in the country. And like all head coaches, Tim O'Shea has a plan in place. Where do you see Bryant's recruiting pool to come from?
Well, I've known Tim O'Shea since he was an assistant at URI, where there he recruited by a guy by the name of Catino Mobley and Tyson Wheeler to play at URI, a team that eventually did very, very well in the NCAA tournament. Did the same thing at Boston College with Troy Bell, then left his mark at Ohio U. He'll find the guys not only in the region, in New England, he'll scour the country. He's one of the best at finding talent and down the road, looking at somebody and saying, wait a minute, he's not there yet. In 2 to 3 years, he'll be a guy that'll fit into my system, fit into my program, be able to make us successful. I think he's done that early. From the recruiting people I've talked to, his 5 guys he signed earlier are very, very impressive.
Shot by McLean, no good. Eric Smith, Raphael Jordan, Alex Herzing, some of the players he signed. Let's see if Harrelson can knock down that first three. Still struggling, and you can just hear the crowd pulling openly for that young man.
When that happens, instead of shooting the basketball, Bob, you start aiming it, and then you really have no chance. So he'll have to get in the gym over the break, watch some tape, maybe adjust his footwork a little bit, and then hope to gain a little confidence in some of these games in the next few weeks.
But one of the problems is with Robinson coming, the opportunity for Harrelson's minutes is going to diminish considerably.
Well, that's why patience is so important. And in today's young players, they don't have enough patience. They don't understand that I may have to wait my turn. And you come to a great program like Connecticut, it's all not going to happen in a minute.
Walker got hit right in the face on that shot attempt. And it's going to be an offensive foul. So talk about adding insult to the injury. McLean does a nice job of taking the charge. The beat is going to leave with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and also 3 blocked shots. So let's see, he needs 152 more to break Emeka Okafor's record. Everyone expects the Beat to leave after this season to go to the NBA. That's asking a lot to get that many blocked shots in the however many games is left.
I think Jim Calhoun would take another ring like Emeka Okafor gave him before he left.
Yeah, winning the National Player of the Year award in the process in 2004 with a great win over Duke in the semifinals. And then a win over Georgia Tech in the finals. Wright stepped on the end line. There's a look at Hashim Thabit, young man from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Came to UConn by way of the Cypress Christian School in Texas. Didn't start playing basketball until a relatively advanced age, and actually used the internet as a tool to kind of scout what colleges he might be interested in playing for in the United States. As Kwandu continues to do a great job off the offensive glass, but it was shortly after that he no longer was a recruiting mystery, because it didn't take very long for the talent, people who scour for talent, to discover.
Maybe Jim Calhoun should take the people who run the Connecticut internet website out to dinner then, if that's the reason he found Connecticut.
Kwandu knocks down the free throw for his first point of the afternoon, only his third point since coming to UConn, and Thabit loves it.
Well, that's the thing you love about Thabit. He's over there cheering for his teammates on the sideline. I've seen him play great games. I've seen him play games where he's had some foul trouble. His demeanor never changes. He's a tremendous team player.
What a power move by Edwards to go up and get the rebound and then take it right to the rim. Inside the 2-minute mark. Next up for UConn, Delaware State, Monday night at Gamble Pavilion. Delaware State is from the MEAC and is really struggling early in the season, 1-7 after losing a game to Oakland University of Michigan last night in a tournament in Las Vegas. This time, Walker gets the contact and instead draws the foul.
Well, I really like early on here this season, Bob, what Jim Calhoun has done with the 3 guards and the rotation of Walker and bringing him in, and an added dimension, moving Price to the 2, Austrie to the wing. I think he gives himself a lot of options, a lot of different. He can switch on defense if he wants to. He can pressure in the full court, and then anyone can take the middle of the floor in their transition, because they all can finish and they all can knock down that shot from the perimeter.
Look at Austrie, who scored 15 points, and Price, who scored 14. And Lyle will depart with 5 points and 5 rebounds. Jim Calhoun said, "Thank goodness we haven't been in much foul trouble yet, but that will happen. I'd like to see us develop a little more depth." Gresham sits down with 19 points and was 6 for 9 from 3-point range. And now Walker departs with 9 points. And he's replaced by walk-on Johnny Bird, a 6-foot senior who played scholastically at Bridgeport Central here in Connecticut, now makes his home in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He's number 10. Steal by Beverly. And a reach-in foul is called on LeClaire, his third, with 1:20 remaining.
Well, being a coach, you're never happy with a loss. But I think Tim O'Shea has to be pleasantly surprised that his team came in here, competed. They didn't crumble. They didn't turn it over in the first half. They made some open shots. They showed that they can compete a little bit down the road when they do get it playing some of the teams at their level in their league.
Yeah, well, Tim told me, look, we want to come in here and we want to execute our offense against the #2 team in the country. And most importantly, we want to compete. And when we leave, we don't want to hang our heads.
Well, I don't think Tim even thought they'd have a win to date coming into this ball game. And the win against Quinnipiac really, I think, uplifted their spirits, thinking, hey, maybe we can do some things this year in our first year Division I down the road as we get into January and February.
Another walk-on for UConn has entered, number 13, Alex Hornat, a 6'5" junior from nearby South Windsor, Connecticut. As we approach the final minute of the afternoon, Ponce wants to go at Akwandu, and Akwandu comes away with yet another rebound. That is his fourth. Here's Bird. Now the idea now, they want to get Hornat an opportunity to shoot. He has yet to score in his career in very limited playing time. He's open on the wing. He goes baseline, and he draws. No. Instead, did he step on the end line?
Yes, he stepped out. Frank Scagliata knows the end lines and baselines. He's a successful high school football coach outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, he was telling us before the game that his team had a big turnaround this year.
They were
9-3.
9-3 after a couple rough years, and I was teasing him that he's the new Joe Pa of high school football. He's not quite 78, but an outstanding official, Frank Scagliata.
Lambert knocks down the shot with the shot clock off. Let's see if UConn takes it. Normally they wouldn't shoot here, although guys on the bench would love to see Hornat fire up one, but I don't think it's going to happen. I love when the crowd boos here. They don't understand that if you take a shot, you're in the doghouse of a man. The last place on earth you want to be is in that doghouse.
I wouldn't want to be in that doghouse.
Oh! Harrelson finally knocks down that first three. And I'm not sure the head Husky's very happy about it.
He's got to find something to be unhappy about today.
I think he just told Tim O'Shea, I told him not to shoot, but Harrelson knocks it down. Maybe that will give him confidence. At any rate, UConn wins it by 30, but Bryant really has nothing to be ashamed of. UConn's going to beat a lot of teams by 30, much less a team that's in its first year of Division I playing its fourth game at the Division I level.
Well, very impressed with UConn early this season. Their unselfish play, there are different ways they can score the basketball, their pressure defense on the perimeter. But Bryant can take the ride back to Smithfield, Rhode Island, and feel proud. They'll be good down the road.
So the Huskies had 5 players in double figures, led by Thabit's double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds. They win by 30. Back with more after this.